Oh, we're getting scientific in this one. Hello pipers, and welcome to another Tortuga Estate bite-sized video. In this one we're actually going to be covering 4 subjects, so we get like a 4-in-1. We're going to talk about tongue bite and how to avoid it. We're going to talk about how to clench your pipe, or different ways to clench your pipe. We're going to talk about how you perceive flavor of your tobacco when you smoke. And there was one more. Oh yeah, and we're going to talk about the P-Lip. Housekeeping first. I'm enjoying some Balkan Sobranie in my newly acquired Peterson 1922-24, I'm not sure, deluxe Army, I guess, and some Sobranie Balkan in it. We are very technologically advanced in this one. The production value is very high on this one, and we have a diagram. Sorry, I have my laptop right in front of me and I'm going to be showing some stuff. All right, first of all, let's talk about tongue bite. There's a lot of theories out there, and I'm not going to tell you that I know exactly what's happening, why, and how to prevent it, but I'm going to tell you how I personally stopped having any tongue bite whatsoever. And one of the theories is that it's like every person is different, and it's like mostly a chemical reaction, and some people would get tongue bite and others will not. I'm pretty sure that's not true, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because when I first started smoking pipes, I would get really bad tongue bite, and to the point where I'm gonna have a small pipe, and for the next up to 3 days I would feel pain, like actual pain, right? And no matter what I did, I couldn't help it. I changed pipes, I changed tobaccos. Of course, I first started with some aromatics, so those are the worst. And yeah, but then gradually in a couple of months I've changed and I've optimized a lot of things, but now it's almost impossible for me to get a tongue bite. If I just smoke the way I smoke, I don't get tongue bite. And sometimes I end up smoking like up to 10, 12, 13 pipes a day of all kinds of tobaccos. Still aromatics from time to time too. So yeah. So before I tell you what I think I changed, let me just tell you how I perceive what tongue bite is. Tongue bite for me, I'm not talking about the feeling, but the actual mechanics around what or how tongue bite happens. It is, in my opinion, just like a mild burn on the tongue tissue that comes from hot vapor, basically. And I know what you're gonna say, it's smoke, it's not vapor, but still there's a lot of moisture, and moisture in a gas, that's vapor, basically. So yeah, and you're gonna get this no matter what pipe you have. There's still gonna be moisture. You're switching tobaccos, one could be better, the other one not so much. It doesn't matter, it's all gonna be vapor. And there's a lot of factors which I believe helped me to get over the whole tongue bite. And it is, so first of all, it's like better techniques, just being better at smoking pipes, at packing them, figuring out what the perfect moisture level is. I gotta say, I started smoking my tobaccos on the drier side, so that definitely, in my opinion, helped. But I'm pretty sure that the biggest factor was that I changed the way I hold my pipe in my mouth. And I've mentioned this quite a lot in some other videos, especially like the collection videos, and this is like a big factor for me if I'm gonna keep a pipe or not, if it is comfortable for the way I hold my pipe. All right, so let's move to the graph where I can show you a little bit what's happening. So if you're holding your pipe, you're probably holding it very horizontal because that's the proper way to do it. Or if you're clenching your pipe, you're probably clenching it, like actually clenching it, to the point that it stays horizontal. And I see people either clenching it with their front teeth or putting it back to the molars. And here in the graph, it is going to look like if you grab a straight pipe. By the way, I have 4 pipes in here that I'm going to be showing the difference of. We have 2 straights and 2 bent pipes, 2 of them with a fishtail and 2 of them with a P-Lip stems. So if the pipe is sitting like this, let's visualize where does the smoke come out with this line. As you can see, the smoke hits the tongue directly, and this for tongue bite is really bad, right? It is really bad. And a lot of people say, yeah, but I need my flavor. The flavor is on my tongue. And this is the biggest myth there is. And just hear me out, and hopefully you're gonna get it. Yes, the tongue has a lot of flavor receptors, but what people think when we're talking about tobacco, right, a pipe tobacco, when we say flavor, what we mean is the different nuances and the different notes, the earthy flavors, the breadiness, if it's an aromatic, the aromatics, and whatever those like tones and nuances. What the tongue actually experiences, or those receptors, they can only feel or tell if something is salty, if something is sweet, if it's bitter, sour, or umami. That's it. This is all that you get from your tongue. All the other nice aromas that you feel, and let me show you on the graphic. Sorry, I gotta do more graphic stuff. So basically, the tongue is like separated. Oh. The tongue is separated, has like different receptors. I don't remember them. There's like one on the side, there's on the back, there's one here, again, sides, front, and in the middle. And all of those, they taste different stuff like bitter, sweet, sour, and yeah. But you perceive those aromas actually not on your tongue. You actually use your nose for them, right? And so whenever you smoke a pipe, the smoke comes in here. Let's see, if you smoke a pipe like this, it hits your tongue and then goes around and it goes all over your mouth, right? And this is where the aromatic molecules, they get to your nose. Sometimes people will tell me, no, I can actually taste them on my tongue. And I don't know how that's possible, but I assume that what's happening is every single, like while we smoke, there's a lot of saliva production. So we also swallow quite often. And every single time when you swallow, and if you're a human being, that's what you do. While you swallow, your tongue hits the roof of your mouth, and it brings the whole new level of aroma molecules that are stuck on the tongue, and it pushes them on top of your mouth, or on the roof of your mouth. And this is why you actually, like, your brain actually perceives, all right, there's so much flavor coming from the tongue, but it is not the case. So as you can see, yeah, it actually, the tongue helps in this situation, but it is not the tongue that experiences all those flavors. The best example that I could give you for this is, just imagine eating a nice dessert. Let's say a creme brulee, or whatever, some like your favorite dessert. Let's say a cake, a full-on cake. It has a really nice flavor, right? It has a very complex flavor. This flavor you get from your nose. Your tongue literally feels sugar. That's it. It feels sweet. No difference for the tongue if you just had a spoon of sugar or a piece of cake. You add the nose, and all of a sudden the spoon of sugar becomes a cake. Okay, with that being said, you can see that with this pipe setup and the way that we clench it or not clench it, if the pipe sits like this, you get all of the hot vapor or air right on your tongue. Like this is the first place that it hits, and that's not optimal. I didn't develop my way of smoking because of that. I think it was just because I didn't want to dent my stems while I clench, and I do clench most of the time. So what I ended up doing is having the pipe just resting on my bottom teeth or my lip, and hanging by the top shelf of the button to my top row of teeth. And if we look at the graph, and if I smoke this pipe, let me just show you like in real life how I would actually hold this pipe. And hold it like this. And yes, it is not as stable as actually clenching it, but I gotta tell you, it is more than stable enough. For example, if I move, even if I'm outside and walking, that's completely fine. Yes, the pipe moves a little bit, and let me show you. But it is still very much doable. It is not, it's not gonna fall off of my mouth. I don't clench it. Like with this specific pipe, it doesn't even touch my bottom teeth. It rests on my bottom lip. So if we look at the graph again with the straight fishtail pipe, and let me just show you something. If you're clenching it like towards your molars, the pipe comes like this, and you can see this is even hotter. And I know that this is like 2D and it's actually on the side of your tongue, but still the distance between the end of the stem, the button, and the flesh of your tongue is so short that it's just too hot. So how I smoke it, it's probably gonna be something like this. So the way I smoke, what happens with the smoke here? So it comes straight from the stem, it hits the roof of my mouth, and then circulates around my whole mouth. So what happens is I get most of the flavor immediately and directly to my nose or to the roof of my mouth, but then it still gets to my tongue without being too hot. And I still get the same effect if every single time I swallow. By the way, try it if you don't believe me. Just swallow right now and pay attention to what happens with your tongue. It will touch the roof of your mouth. And when I do this, I still can feel the extra flavor whenever I do that, but it's not as hot. And I literally almost can't give myself tongue bite if I smoke like this. But to be honest, now thinking about it, another factor of getting rid of that tongue bite is literally just having your tissues get used to it a little bit. Like you're gonna have a little bit of heat resistance build up. So I do remember at first that some pipes would feel uncomfortable, and the roof of my mouth would feel a little bit sore, but it was nothing compared to a real tongue bite. All right, so this basically covers the clenching methods and how we perceive the flavor and tongue bite. Now let's actually talk about the P-Lip, because Peterson claims that the P-Lip will improve the flavor, will improve tongue bite. So let's see how does that work in our graph. Oh, come on, stop it. Let's get rid of this pipe and let's get again a straight pipe but a P-Lip, and let's see what happens here. So if any of you don't know what a P-Lip, actually, you know what, let me show you the bent P-Lip first, because here we actually have a diagram of what happens with the P-Lip. So as you can see from the graph, we have a 45 angle for the airflow coming out of the stem. So let's see what happens in here. And right now we're in a position where we clench the pipe with our front teeth, basically. And that's how the P-Lip was supposed to be used and smoked. So what happens here is the smoke comes out and circulates around. So basically it hits the roof of your mouth. Now, this is if you decide to clench it very hard so the stem stays horizontal. And as you can see here, it's a little bit weird because it's gonna hit the back of the roof of your mouth. So I don't think that's the most optimal way. So let's see what happens with my way of holding a pipe. And my way, a pipe like this would probably look similar to that. And here, if we see the smoke, as you can see, it has a really nice curve to circulate in a very, very smooth way. Now, this is not all perfect. You're gonna see in some of my videos when especially like, I haven't done this video yet, but I've mentioned it in other ones that, hey, this beautiful Peterson pipe that I love, I'm parting with it because it's too big. It's too big for me, or it's uncomfortable. And what I mean by that, in most cases, is that if the pipe is too heavy for the way I smoke, something unusual happens. The pipe will be similar to this. And as you can see in this scenario, we have this. And again, we have too short of a distance between the end of the stem and any kind of tissue. And this could be a little bit irritating for me. It's not going to give me anything near a tongue bite, but it is still not pleasant. So this is why some pipes, although I should like them, I'm like, no, this pipe doesn't work for me. No, but as you can see, if you don't go into the extremes, a P-Lip actually works a lot better than a fishtail. But it doesn't mean that you should throw away all of your fishtails and move to P-Lip, because as you saw from the previous example, I get the same effect with a straight pipe. But then you're gonna have to like hold the pipe or clench the pipe the same way as I do, or in a similar way. Now, just for comparison, let's check what happens with the other two types of pipes. So this would be a bent fishtail pipe, and we have the exact same thing. Like, we have the smoke hitting first the tongue, and then it circulates around the mouth. And it gets even worse if you actually clench it with your molars. And again, let's see what happens if we hold it my way. And some of you I know are gonna say, that's unrealistic, nobody smokes like this, or nobody holds a pipe like this. Give me a second. I actually have a pipe that is a very similar shape to this. That's my Dunhill Cumberland spigot. This is how I would hold it. Like, it goes up. It goes up, and now when I draw on it, I can literally pinpoint the place where, like with this pipe, it hits the smoke hits round about here. So that for me is like a perfect way. So I might have actually put the pipe on the graph exactly like this one. Like, if it comes here, yeah, similar. So this was the bent fishtail. And now let's see what happens with a straight P-Lip. Straight P-Lip, if you clench it with the end of your teeth, how you're supposed to, the smoke will go 45 degrees, perfect placement, and circulate around. If you do it my way, let's see what happens. This is a little bit of an extreme, I think. That's too shallow. So as you can see, with a straight P-Lip, it is not optimal for my way of smoking. And this is why I actually enjoy most of my straight Petersons, like this one, to be with a fishtail stem. And generally, my straight pipes to be with a fishtail stem. So anyways, you can see there is no like, hey, just get this type of stem or just do this and you're gonna be good. But hopefully with this video you actually learn the basics and the mechanisms of everything, so you could, next time you pick up a pipe and you're like, oh, I don't know why this pipe is giving me such a tongue bite, you can figure it out for yourself and also figure out if there's something that you can do to adjust. Maybe, hey, this pipe I'm gonna hold in my hand, or this pipe I'm gonna always let hang more. Or as in my case, sometimes you're gonna see, that's a beautiful pipe, that's my favorite shape, that's my favorite finish, it's a very rare limited edition. It doesn't matter, it doesn't work for the way I smoke, so you pass it to somebody else who smokes a little bit differently and they're gonna enjoy it properly. I really hope that I was organized enough so you could follow through. If you liked the video and found it useful, don't forget to subscribe. Maybe write a comment on what other subjects would you like me to explain and touch upon. If I have the knowledge or the experience for that, I'll make sure I do. All right, see you in the next one.